figured it out. We know what's going on. And then 5 years later, you look back and go, what the hell were we talking about?
Woohoo! Okay. I think we're getting close to ready for a show here, Scott Johnson.
Creeping up against the precipice.
It's kind of like, okay, so now that I start the video a little earlier for the live stream to catch up, for the people who watch this later, it's kind of like the beginning of the Muppet Show. It's very much like the beginning of the Muppet Show.
That's great.
Yeah, it's like we're the backstage before the show starts it. And
it's
then
time to put on makeup. It's time to
light the lights.
Like that. Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah, that thing. What you said.
Who's our guest tonight? Liberace. Who we got?
Scott Johnson!
Scott Johnson! Yay!
Great.
I could do this all day.
Good. But should you?
No.
Or as the great film Avalon taught us, you can, but you may not.
Yeah. Aww.
And then Shane says the chat is Waldorf and Stadler.
Oh, that's great.
I thought this was a tech show.
Now I just want to do that show. Can we just do that show?
Pretty good formula.
I thought this was a tech show. Yeah, tech me out of here.
It's actually right on. You could write for them.
That'd be great. I don't want to say anything untoward, but
Yeah.
but yes.
But yes.
That would be fun. All right. Are we about ready to get things started?
Ready.
Light the lights.
Yay!
Goodbye.
Good show.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're going to uncover the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto on today's show.
Yeah. This is it feels very, I don't know, something very, what's the word? I feel like we're spies in a weird way. It's kind of cool. I'm excited about this.
Clandestine, is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your knowledge greatly exceeding my own on the subject will either be great or hilarious when people hear me try to be smart.
Well, I think I've got a way into this that will, I think, make things easier for us. So
I'm not worried.
Let's do the show. Here we go.
This episode of the Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by me. If you'd like to bring the next episode to yourself, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support to be part of the show. Let's do this, Tom.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, December 9th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Scott Johnson of the Frog Pants Network, frogpants.com. How are you doing, Scott Johnson? Are you ready? Are you ready to uncover secret identities?
I am so ready for this. It's like I got my decoder rings out. I got my, what else do I use? I got a P90. I don't know what that is. That's a gun, isn't it? Or a P9 or something. I got my sweet tuxedo on. I got Moneypenny making all my flight arrangements. I'm ready to go.
When you say P90, I think of those little Emerson tape things that print out labels for shelves. We used to use those at half-price books.
Or infomercials for...
I got my P90. I'm going to label things. Nice. Label that secret. Label that. Now, we're talking about Satoshi Nakamoto allegedly, possibly, maybe being uncovered by Wired and Gizmodo. Lots of things could be said today that are inaccurate. You could say, we've determined who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I don't think that's true, and we'll talk about that. You could say, Yahoo's up for sale. It's not, although it might be someday. You could say, Apple canceled their streaming service, which is just a lie because Apple never had a streaming service. So we're going to cover all that and more. Let's do some headlines. spsheridan posted in our subreddit, The Guardian report, that Australian federal police searched the home of tech entrepreneur Craig Wright yesterday at his home and an office, both near Sydney. The AFP was assisting the Australian Taxation Office and said, quote, the matter is unrelated to recent media reports regarding the digital currency Bitcoin. The reason they had to make that statement was that hours before the search was conducted, Wired and Gizmodo published articles describing leaked emails alleged to be from Craig Wright's account, claiming that he was Satoshi Nakamoto in a couple of them, and lots of other circumstantial evidence. Satoshi Nakamoto is the name of the person who released Bitcoin on January 3rd, 2009, but everyone pretty much assumes that's not a real name, and folks have been trying for years to figure out who Satoshi Nakamoto really is.
have so many questions. When we get to this, the core of the show, I'm going to bite my bit tongue until we get to the bit middle of the show. So don't worry. It's all going to
block
be fun.
that chain.
That's right. Yahoo's decided to hold on to its 15% stake in Alibaba and spin the rest of the company out into a new company. This has been all the rage today as well. The process should take a year or more to complete. Some Yahoo shareholders worried that the spinoff of Alibaba shares into a separate holding company would have adverse tax consequences, something shareholders often worry about. Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer said the spinoff will, quote, provide more transparency into the value of Yahoo's business, unquote. And for the record, Yahoo.com is still a place you'll be able to go and search for things and do your
time being. Yeah. In some ways, there's a lot of tea leaf reading to be done here. But what's actually happening is a simple financial move to say we want to separate the value of our ownership. They own 15% of Alibaba. It's sort of described as the eBay of China sometimes. They want to separate that stake from the rest of Yahoo. And originally they were just going to spin it out into a holding company, a perfectly normal maneuver. Now what they're saying is, well, we think it will take too long to figure out the tax implications of that and get clarification from the IRS. And we know that going the opposite direction and spinning out all of Yahoo except the Alibaba holdings would be okay. So we're just going to do that because we can do that faster. Now that implies that they're impatient to do something here. And that would probably be the shareholders saying, look, Yahoo value has not been going up. We need you to act now.
Are there any comparisons or tie-ins here to what happened with Google and the Alphabet deal?
I mean, in the sense that this is a financial maneuver that changes names and moves things around, but doesn't necessarily change the reality for you as an end user. Yeah, there's a comparison there. What Alphabet did was figure out how to make their balance sheet look better to shareholders and improve the company. What Yahoo is doing is not exactly the same thing. And a lot of people feel like now that Yahoo is being spun out, that means they'll have to make public a lot more information than they would if they spun out the Alibaba holding. And so that could open them up to more interest of acquisition, and the shareholders might be willing to listen to acquisition interest if they were going to get enough money for it. So that's why you're going to see a lot of headlines saying Yahoo is up for sale. It's not technically up for sale, but it certainly could be if the right buyer came around with the right price.
Well, I like Yahoo, and I'm glad to hear that they have at least, they have, at the very least seem like they have things going on to help solidify whatever their place is in this world, which is sometimes hard to define.
HTC posted a statement clarifying that its Vive VR headset will become commercially available in April of 2016. Pre-orders will begin at the end of February, they say. HTC had originally said it would be commercially available by the end of this year, and that would have made it the very first of the large-scale VR headsets to come out. Well, now Samsung Gear VR has the whole holiday season to itself. HTC has distributed headsets to developers and creators, says it'll make 7,000 more headsets available to developers at the start of next year. Also, will show off the Vive at a developer conference in Beijing on December 18th and launch a new developer kit at CES.
Interesting how just see where the VR thing has gone this year. It went from the beginning of the year, which was so much promise about what 2015 would be to virtual reality, and it has been great in terms of what we're being shown and some of the initiatives happening and some of the software being developed, and all of those things have definitely been interesting, and people are stoked about it. But what we were really excited about was one of these manufacturers, combined with the efforts of Steam and Valve, were going to come out this year. We were supposed to have them in November, and here we are in December, sort of feeling a little bit empty-handed. And I don't know, I also just feel the air has left the room a little bit in terms of excitement from a lot of the people I talk to. I think they're still pretty jazzed about the whole idea of VR and having it work the way it's supposed to, but I think there's just a general sense of like, well, now we're all going to wait, so I guess we have to wait, and this is going to be a thing that'll be here for a long time. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, well, I'll wait for Generation 2. So I don't know where VR is yet, but after the PlayStation experience last week, there's some exciting things on the horizon for them and others, so we'll see.
But it pretty much has everybody launching in the first half of 2016, which we thought HTC Vive might get a leg up by launching early, but now they won't.
Not so much. In Gadget Reports, you can now buy new exteriors for Google OnHub routers made in partnership with TP-Link, black, gray, and white gold. Uh-oh, that's a dress you'll not be able to tell what color it is on the internet. Exteriors are available in the Google store for $29, and a wood one is available for $39. Google is also making CAD files and 2D outlines available for people who want to print their own exteriors. You can go to atonhubmakers.withgoogle.com.
No, it's just on HubMakers.
Got it. They were two words. Onhubmakers.withgoogle.com and print your own, man. We just got a 3D printer. I wouldn't mind messing with that sort of thing if I had the hub, but that's cool that they're offering that.
Yeah, the idea is to say you shouldn't hide your router because, well, it doesn't give you as good a reception if it's hidden. So let's make it look nice enough that people won't mind having it out in plain view.
Yeah.
It's kind of nifty. And I love the fact that, because I was like $29 just to have something that wraps around my router. And then I saw that they were making 3D printed CAD files available. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. So if you're lazy, you pay the lazy tax.
Where are most people hiding these things? Do we know where these things are?
People put them in closets, under desks. They put them behind things, though, not where they might have the most coverage, right? They're like, I'd probably get the most coverage if I put it out here on this table, but I don't really like it there, so I'm going to stick it in the corner, and now I can't get Wi-Fi on the other end of the house, and my husband won't let me put it out where I want. You know.
They've never really struck me as so ugly I'd have to hide it, but maybe I'm in the wrong category for this.
Let's be clear, folks. Apple has never announced any facts about a possible TV service, ever. Reporters have said a lot of unattributed things, and there have been things written in books, but CBS CEO Les Moonves has probably said the most about his meetings with Apple regarding a potential streaming TV service. Well, now Bloomberg reports the unofficial spokesperson for the Apple TV service, Les Moonves, told the Business Insider Ignition conference, I think they pressed the hold button. Moonves still expects skinny TV bundles to happen, though, saying this will happen. It has 4 major networks and 10 cable networks, let's say, and the price point will be in the $30 range, $30 to $35, $40 maybe. He says people will not be spending money on channels they don't want to watch in the future. So on one hand, he's saying Apple's pressed pause, they can't get the deals they want, but he seems to think it's inevitable that somebody will get those deals, whether it's Apple or somebody else.
Well, I think that's a fine idea. I like this idea. He's basically described what I want. Give me the 10 networks or 4 major networks and the 10 cable channels I want for $30 a month. Boom. You got a customer, man. So whether it's Apple or Google or somebody else, I don't care. Let's just get the deal made. Where do you think the holdup is? Probably with the content creators. As
it's
usual.
with bundles. It's all the networks want to bundle. They're like, we don't care if you don't bundle everybody else, but if you take Lifetime, we want you to take Lifetime movies and the Wii network, and they just don't want to let it go that you can only take their best network, because that's how those secondary networks survive, is by being bundled in with the more popular networks from that company.
Makes sense. According to a study led by Binghamton University's Celia Klin, boy, there's a mouthful, ending text messages with a period is perceived as less sincere. What would that be? The researchers presented 126 undergraduates with a series of either text messages or handwritten notes. The period did not register as insincerity in handwritten notes. Klin's follow-up research, which hasn't been published yet, shows that exclamation points seem more sincere than no punctuation at all. They express emotion, right? Like if I tell you, Tom, it's time for a show, exclamation point, you're going to see that and go, oh, Scott's real excited to get going here. And if I just put a period, you might not take it as seriously, but I don't know, would you feel I'm being less sincere? That's a strange thing to pull from the data, in my opinion. I'd like to see more, I guess.
Well, yeah, okay, and this is one of the failures of the media with science reporting, is to report this sort of thing as, well, the researchers have determined this. The researchers have not determined this. What the researchers did was, I wonder if there's a difference between a period and not a period, because I've noticed some people react that way. Let's get 126 undergraduates and see if we see any difference. And that's what this study did. Now that they've seen a difference, the next step would be for another group of researchers, maybe the same group, to say, okay, now that we've seen there is an effect, what is that effect? Let's have a wider study that's more statistically significant across demographics, et cetera. So this is just the first step to see, like, do we see anything at all that indicates further research is needed? And they did. So the idea, I guess, is, sometimes I find myself not putting in periods and I'm not being grammatically correct. So maybe we have become accustomed, those of us who text a lot, to feeling like no period is an informal, natural conversation, and that if someone puts a period, it's like they're writing a letter, and it's like, well, now they're talking down to me. I don't know.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know either, but this kind of thing fascinates me because I'm guessing the more somebody knows somebody else, they worry less about whatever the decorum is, and no matter how thin that layer of decorum might be it a period or a smiley face or something you might otherwise put on a message to someone you know a little bit less. So where those divisions are, that's at least interesting research. I'd like to see more of this.
You know, the last 3 text messages you sent me had a period at the end. Before that, the 5 before that didn't. So
what?
You got really insincere with me lately, Scott. I've been meaning to talk to you about that.
I'll
I'll be honest, never noticed that till just now when I went and looked at it. T-Glass 1976 wanted us to be sure we mentioned that Google and NASA announced their performance findings on the D-Wave X2 quantum computer. The 2 organizations jointly purchased one 2 years ago, and they've been researching it ever since. Ars Technica reports that using quantum annealing for an optimization problem involving 945 binary variables, the X2 is said to be 100 million times faster than a single core computer. Google's head of quantum artificial intelligence, Hartmut Nevin, said the results were very encouraging, but more work remained to turn quantum-enhanced optimization into practical technology. But what they're trying to figure out here is like, okay, we know quantum computers aren't good at everything across the board. We know they're not faster than a conventional computer at everything. We think they're faster at certain things. So they did this problem involving 945 binary variables and said, aha, it's definitely faster at that. I guess what Helmut's saying is we don't know what that's good for yet, though. We need to find out what else it's faster at first.
I like his measured approach to the results, because if I saw something that was 100, if I saw it was 100 times faster, not 100 million times faster, but 100 times faster than it used to be, I'd be jumping all over the place. 100 million times faster. And he's like, yeah, it's early, though. We're still working at it. I'm impressed with that. That guy's really got restraint.
Well, it's like, you know what? This might not be good for anything, though, even if it is that fast. And let's replicate the results a few times. Make sure it wasn't a quirk, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's something there that I really like about his restraint. The Executive European Commission presented a proposal Wednesday to require online subscription providers like Netflix, Sky, Canal Plus, and others to allow subscribers to access their home subscriptions anywhere in the 28 member states. The EC expects a time limit could be set on the allowance. Reuters reports that the Commission says it does not want to introduce a pan-European license anytime soon.
Yeah, this is a silly artifact of the way things used to be, right? So what happens is Netflix has a France version, and let's say Amazon has a German version. And when someone from Germany goes to France, they can't get their Amazon streaming. And when someone from France goes to Germany, they can't get their Netflix streaming because they're in those countries. What the EC, I think, very reasonably is saying is, look, if you're in Europe, you should be able to get your thing. What they're not saying, though, is, so let's just make it so there's one market for all of these things. They're trying to appease these companies who are looking at it and going, whoa, we make a lot of money charging people different amounts to access different markets within the European Union. We don't want to let there just be one subscription for everything.
It kind of comes down to the genie being out of the bottle, because in the States, a company like Netflix isn't charging me a different price in Utah and you a different price in California and Brian Ibbett a different price.
Well, it's not about price. It's about access, right? Think of it as Canada versus Utah.
Oh, yeah.
If you go to Canada, you can't log into your Netflix account and see your movies. You can log into your Netflix account and see the Canadian movies because they have different licensing agreements. It's not about cost. It's about what stuff's in the service.
That's true. But then you've got that's the entire point. But what you're dealing with is a place like the European Union where you now are dealing with geographic differences that are akin to me driving up to Idaho for the weekend. And so,
well, but if you lived in Idaho, let's say you live way up in the in Lewiston in northern Idaho, and you want to drive to Canada, you can't and just camp. And you also have satellite internet somehow. You can't watch your Netflix because you're in Canada. It's the same thing. It's a geographical restriction. It's silly.
What if the European Union suddenly out of nowhere, which this isn't going to happen, but let's say they all of a sudden just said, you know what, we're truly going to be the European Union. We're going to be the United States of Europe.
Yeah.
For lack of a better politically charged term.
Yeah, right. Especially these days, you're going to get a lot of people throwing their hands up in the air.
But if they did and they all became this, one governed thing, well, then that changes things, wouldn't it? Probably.
What's next, Scott? One world government? What are you, back in the Amero now?
No, I'm starting to go down.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the European Union, I mean, let's leave all of the politics of the union aside, that's not even what this is about. This is about companies saying, yeah, but I can make more money if I strike a different deal for access in every single country than if you treat it as one market, even though it's treated as one market for other goods and services, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I just think at some point they get forced to do it. If the living and existing standards of the state, meaning the European Union, becomes one of lots of travel and nobody's really, it's not like France is a sovereign nation anymore. I mean, it is, but I'm saying if it gets to the point where
France is definitely a sovereign nation.
Well, it is, but when you get to the point that you're in Germany as much as you're in France, because I'm talking future here. This isn't now, and again, all political stuff aside, I like playing that game. But if we take all that aside, you could see a world in the future where things tighten up, things get smaller.
I'll go farther than that. I mean, we have a North American Free Trade Agreement, right? Mm-hmm. Why can't I? I mean, these geographic restrictions are actually meaningless on the internet. And I think this is like the very beginning of the babyest of steps towards people realizing, well, wait a minute. What does a geographic restriction really mean? And they're realizing it within the context of the European market, right? But once they've worked through that exercise, what's to say like, well, hold on, why is it when I'm in Turkey I can't get my Netflix? Oh, right, because they're NATO, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like, right. I think eventually these kind of restrictions, for whether they're pushed by governments or whether it's just market forces that do it, I think eventually, and maybe we'll be dead by then, but eventually these restrictions just fall away.
I think you and I will be dead, but I think
we might.
There's a generation coming up. They're going to have this opportunity to be a little less spread apart, and land and ephemeral things like that will stop being such weird barriers to stuff like this. And that'll be good for everyone.
BizTech Africa reports an Ipsos study shows cross-border online shopping growing in African countries. 47% of online shopping in Nigeria is done internationally. About a third of Nigeria's online shoppers spend with South African companies. Nigeria has the most online shoppers in Africa, followed by South Africa and Kenya. So again, showing that the internet kind of erodes at borders. If you had to travel from Nigeria to South Africa, you wouldn't shop in South Africa very often. It's very far away. But if you can do it over the internet, well, suddenly you're willing to do it.
It's another, exact same, well, not the exact same thing, but a very similar question.
But a very similar thing, yeah. Hey, thanks for submitting stories to us, folks, at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. It helps us really focus on what you guys are interested in. It's one element. I'd say it's probably 10% of the audience in there. We'd love to see it get larger, though. Go check it out, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that is a look at the headlines. Okay, Scott. How to summarize. Yesterday, Gizmodo and Wired put forth articles, well-researched, well-documented articles, well-written, about whether someone named Craig Wright of Sydney, Australia, working with a partner named Dave Kleinman, who used to be a resident of Palm Beach County, Florida, has since passed away, died in 2013, are the people who teamed up to create Bitcoin, and particularly whether Craig Stephen took on the persona of Satoshi Nakamoto. You should read these articles. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence. There are things in here about blog posts that seem to have been deleted, and screenshots of these blog posts are in the leaked documents to both of these places. There's also skepticism, though. A lot of people are showing, well, wait a minute, some of these documents talk about PGP keys, and really there's only one PGP key that you can definitively tie to Satoshi Nakamoto without some kind of tampering to it, and that one hasn't been changed, and it's not identified with Craig Stephen. There's also the fact that Nathaniel Popper, New York Times reporter and author of Digital Gold, was sent this trove of documents, or at least a similar trove of documents first, and did not find it convincing. To cast some doubt on what they're doing here. But, there's lots of claims. There's lots of emails. There's one from September 2011 from Craig to Kleinman saying, I cannot do the Satoshi bit anymore. So there's seemingly, if you believe these emails are valid, and Wired even says, well, we can't really 100% validate that these emails are true, seem to indicate that at least Craig Wright thought that he was being Satoshi Nakamoto. And he is definitely someone who is involved in Bitcoin. He runs Bitcoin enterprises. He actually has written papers. He has several doctorates. He's a researcher. He seems to be smart enough to have been able to do this, whether he did it or not. And the only thing that really people are pointing to, I feel like the most, is that Wright and Kleiman were co-owners of something called the Tulip Trust, which holds 1.1 million Bitcoins. There has been a block of 1.1 million Bitcoins visible on the blockchain for years that everyone assumes is Satoshi Nakamoto's because it's never been touched and never moved. And so if the Tulip Trust has 1.1 million Bitcoins, that's 1.1 million Bitcoins. Again, circumstantial evidence. Scott, what do you make of all of this?
Oh, man. So we talked about it this morning a bit on TMS, and I'm fascinated by it. I feel like this is going to make a great movie one day. I'm almost sure of it. If we can take other of this sort of thing in our lives and turn them into films, why not this? Whistleblowers for the tobacco industry or whatever. This has got intrigue written all over it. You've got a system of cryptocurrency that is based on hidden identities, and you gave me a really great argument today about why those identities are hidden and why it's actually good that the math is strong and the personality is low on this on the entire face of Bitcoin, which I totally agree with. But I still find it all very cloak and dagger, undercover, in the dark of night. For whatever reason, it could just be me and my dramatic brain trying to wrap itself around it. But if it's a hoax, all right, let's say it's a hoax, because for now, you know,
because the 15 other times people have said that they found the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, they weren't right.
Right,
we don't think they were.
Every other case, right? This just has a lot of connected stuff and tissue that seems like it's supporting that maybe this time they found him. That this is where in the world Carmen Sandiego has gone. Who would be perpetrating a hoax like this, and to what end? That's the part I've been trying to get my head around all day today, and I know we're not going to have specifics about that answer, but I'm trying to figure out what you gain by pointing out some tech expert who's got a lot of experience with Bitcoin in Australia. If he's not really him, what's the point? Like, what do you get out of that? Just a misdirection? Everybody's looking somewhere else while something else is happening over here?
To get famous. You're someone who's highly intelligent and doesn't feel like they've ever been respected for the intelligence that they carry. You create this backstory and get the notoriety for it. Maybe you're someone who is definitely in trouble with the Australian Taxation Office, and you're looking for some escape from that. And it's not a rational escape, but being considered to be Satoshi Nakamoto might help take your mind off of all of these tax problems. I don't know that that's the case. I'm not saying that's what's going on with Craig Wright, but those are possibilities for a theoretical or a hypothetical situation, right? And nothing that Wired or Gizmodo wrote is definitive. There are lots of very circumstantial things. There are things that, if the email is correct, they certainly imply that Craig Wright thought he was Nakamoto. He wrote on September 10th, 2011 to Kleeman, "I cannot do the Satoshi bit anymore. They no longer listen. I am better as a myth." March 28th to 2014 regarding an electronic money project, he wrote, "I need your help and I need a version of me to make this work better than me." So the emails definitely paint a fascinating story. And I think that's why people are paying so much attention to this. On the one hand, Bitcoin has become a very successful technology, maybe not a successful currency, but a successful technology that lots of financial institutions are looking at for things like contracts and transactions, just using the blockchain, whether it's the Bitcoin blockchain or a version of it. So wondering who invented this, we always like to praise an inventor like Thomas Edison, like Steve Jobs, and on and on and on. We want to give credit. And so the fact that we don't actually know this makes people crazy, and they want to uncover the mystery, right?
If it's him, okay, and I actually kind of think after reading everything today, I kind of think it's him. This is just my own personal opinion. And
really? Okay.
Indeed, I am basing this on a lot of circumstantial evidence, okay? But I'm a sucker for that stuff. Don't put me on your jury is all I'm saying. I am leaning very heavily toward this is probably the guy, mostly due to those emails and family members' comments and things like that. However, if it is him, do you think we're going to get a chance to hear from him? Is he going to be able to say anything about this, or is this so weird that no one's ever going to talk about nothing? It feels like BitTorrent but with more cloak and dagger to me. It's like they made BitTorrent for one thing, but it's being used for something very different. In this case, it's being used by a lot. I mean, whatever. Like real money, it gets used for lots of important things and a lot of really kind of gnarly behind-the-scenes things. That's no different with Bitcoin. But what interests me is how financial institutions may use the technology in the future to ensure security, to ensure accuracy, on all those things. They're all important. But I just want to know, will this guy have a chance to say, yeah, that's me, or no, it isn't me?
We'll have a chance.
Well, yes.
He's already got a chance. He's had a chance for years.
But why are they raiding him?
Well, I hate that word. People say raid all the time. What it means is 9 policemen walked up to a house, knocked on the door, issued a search warrant. There was nobody home. They opened the door and they went in and they searched the house. They're looking for tax records. There is a problem with the Australian taxation office and this individual, and they're looking for records that they can use to bolster their claim. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Nothing at all. And they've gone far enough to make a statement to that effect, saying, yeah, we don't know about those articles, but we are pursuing a tax matter. IRS searches people's houses all the time with search warrants for tax evasion. Sure. And that seems to be what's going on here.
Okay, so again, you put it on the pile of circumstantial evidence. It's just another thing happening in his life that seems to somehow lean toward this whole.
Well, wait a minute. Why is getting in trouble with a tax office mean you're the inventor of Bitcoin? Wouldn't it be the opposite, that you would assiduously avoid any kind of entanglement with tax problems so that people wouldn't be prying into your life?
You would think so, but this is my core problem, but this is my core thing with the entire issue of Bitcoin at the core, which is it's a fake guy. We don't really know who he is. None of this is transparent, but it's all this super trusted thing because the math's real solid, but yet, unlike all other things in our world, we're not requiring visual proof of this man who supposedly...
But why do you need visual proof of the man other than curiosity?
I don't.
There's an excellent article today on Fortune that says the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto doesn't matter. And the reason is that the software worked, the system worked when it was released. More than 4,000 code commits have been made since then by people who are not Satoshi Nakamoto. And so there is way more code in Bitcoin now that is not made by Nakamoto than is made by Nakamoto. You don't need him. He doesn't have any effect on how well Bitcoin works or its continuing operation. It would be as if Linus Torvalds had created the Linux kernel code, set up the open source project, and then disappeared. And other people came in and very competently maintained the kernel, and we wondered who it was that invented Linux. It wouldn't change Linux working. It would just be a mystery that we all would be like, but we really want to know.
In the aftermath of the blast center of the singularity, I think this would make more sense. But because we are these bio-organic creatures that not only love story but need it for our survival, it's how we connect with our ancestors, how we connect to the future, it's how we connect to our kids. We need an end to the story. I think that's all this is, and I will be the first to admit, I just so want to know who this is and how soon Benedict Cumberbatch will play him in a film.
Absolutely, right? That's what we want. We want the story. It has no practical effect on Bitcoin or the blockchain or how well it works. I think that's what's beautiful about it. And as much as I'm curious to know who this is and whether this Craig Wright is really the person, which frankly, I see nothing that convinces me that it's him. I see a lot of circumstantial evidence that when cherry picked together and leaked properly can sort of point in a direction, but we don't have enough opportunity just to look at controversial, at evidence that could contradict it. It's all positive. I'm like, I don't buy it yet. At the same time, part of me thinks it's beautiful that somebody created this beautiful piece of software and just let it go.
Yeah.
And just let it out into the world.
There's something comforting about it. There's something kind of cool about it. And again, the reason I think it's kind of cool is there's a story there that we don't know the entirety of, and that part of that makes it beautiful. Like you're not wrong about any of that, but it's just one of the most interesting things in my technical life is this, and Bitcoin and everything that it connects to, and how it exists, why it exists, and the fact that I still don't completely have my head wrapped around why it's a thing, and that it can just come out of nowhere in a world without computers, that it would just suddenly not exist anymore. It's just, the whole thing's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And, hopefully they can figure this crap out. And I just want to know, look, if you can just say, no, it's not him, or it is, but he wants his privacy, that's all I need. I'm good. I'll be happy.
Well, let's move on to the pick of the day. And the pick of the day is the identity of... No, it's not. I'm just going to read the email as written. Here it goes. Hello, Tom, and it's Scoot, right? That is how you say it in American?
Yes.
Jenny and Roger, Marlon, the guy from Trinidad here, and my pick of the day, with some slight reservation, is the newly launched Patreon app for Android and iOS. In the app, you can discover and subscribe to new projects, and I took the opportunity to finally become a patron of the Phileas Club. You can see info on projects you support, such as posts, and comment on them, as I did today. I got them on a notification on my phone, Marlon. And of course, manage your account. Now for the caveats. The design of the app is lazy and seems to be straight port of the iOS app. They need to update it to Material Design, as that would help with the smoothness and usability of the app, but also help its ratings in the Play Store. We Android users savage anything that is not Material Design. And then Marlon writes, praise be to Duarte.
Yeah, I'm with him. You should be playing to the strengths of the platform you're making something for. The same thing goes the other direction.
Yeah.
Somebody ports something over from Android. It's nice to see when they'll take into account the strengths and weaknesses of iOS and make that part of the development. So he's totally right and not wrong. I agree with it.
And then Scott, you wanted to slip in a pick of your own today.
Yeah, super fast one. So last week we had a really great discussion with myself, Len Peralta, and you about the state of Adobe. They'd done some recent releases and gotten up on stage in Switzerland, did a bunch of talking about what was going on with their initiatives with CC and portability and all that sort of thing. And so during that time and the previous week and up till now, I have been making a very concerted effort to try every drawing app and art app, specifically for artists, graphic designers and artists, on the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil, specifically these two tools, to try to come up with my best recommendation.
Oh, I know where this is going. You're just going to pick Adobe because you're just like Adobe fanboy, right?
You know what? I hate to shock you. I hate to blow your mind today, but it's actually not going to be them. I think that there's some real potential in what they've done lately. I think the CC stuff is strong, but not perfect. There's bugs. There's some problems. Why their mobile Photoshop app called Sketch, or is it Draw? I think it's Sketch, does not have layers is ridiculous to me. There's some real problems, but there's also some high points. But after looking at a big crowded field that include things from Autodesk and Adobe and a million other makers, I have settled on the one I'm going to pick today as the best artist tool, even for Photoshop users, because as it turns out,
it's worse than Satoshi Nakamoto's identity. Come on, tell me what it is.
And he might be Australian. No, so it's Procreate. Available on the App Store for $4.99. It is absolutely a steal at that price, and it supports everything you need as an artist, every kind of brush, ink, pencil style, extremely low latency with the pencil, like better than most of the other apps I tested. It has all the layer support you'd ever need, all the different sizes, resolutions that you would ever need. It records everything you do, so you can actually export or view right there in the app a complete speed drawing of what you've done. It could have taken you months to do it, but it'll just do it all in a row from every time you've put pen to pad and recreate the entire video for you. You can share that with your friends, put it online, whatever. That's just a really nice side note. But also you can export it to whatever format you want, including PSDs, to bring it into your workflow on your desktops at home with your Wacoms or whatever in Photoshop, and every other format in between. It impressed me constantly, and the things people are doing with it is always impressive. And it is easily my big pick. So if you were on the fence about what software to get with your iPad Pro and your pencil, I think Procreate is your best option.
Go forth and Procreate.
Procreate, yep.
Procreate.si. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. We love to get them. Message of the day. First of all, Sean, who does our video feed, wrote, "Here is a power cell station for Gogoro. And we'll throw this in the treasure chest for folks as well to take a look at. He says, I can't think of a more, he says, I have seen quite a number of these stations in Taipei, but so far I have seen more stations than Gogoro bikes on the streets. Then again, I'm not on every street monitoring traffic all the time. But yeah, thanks for sending us the pic. It is interesting. He's like, I see the stations. I haven't seen a single bike yet.
Weird. Because they're all out? It's not because they're not being used, right? Maybe they're all out being ridden around on or something.
Well, he's out in the street. You think you'd see one whiz by, right? But
so.
Yeah. And then Gabby Cohen said, I adore the show, listen every day. I'm spending a month in France and have been in Paris for the last week. I can't think of a more gorgeous city. I've run every day for 23 years and often do so while listening to your show. So I'm sending a photo of myself listening to you two, me and Patrick Beja from France, while running along the Seine. And we'll throw that one in the old treasure chest as well. Thank you, Gabby, for sending us the picture. It's got the Eiffel Tower in the background. It's a beautiful picture there.
Yeah, France, man. That place is. I imagine that if you're going to jog in any European city, France is a good one.
There's a place in France where you can go jogging. Daryl, a listener since the early days of Buzz Out Loud, wrote and said in regards to Friday's show, I am on the board of a microfinance organization working in Ghana. I'm so happy to hear the connectivity is improving. He's talking about Google running fiber there. We currently pay more than $400 per month for internet that is slow and unreliable at best. I agree that some of the barriers that we have in the developed world are not an issue there, but there are many barriers there that we don't have here. Unreliable, poor quality electricity, poor fuel delivery infrastructure for generators, poor roads, and surprisingly increasing regulation and slow-moving bureaucracy. So I salute the efforts of Google and a few others. We also got an email from someone who said that there is fiber in Accra provided by Airtel Ghana that Vodafone rolled out several years ago. So Google isn't the first to bring it, but it's always good to bring more.
It's always good, too, to be reminded in other parts of the world where you're using the internet with complete impunity and you forget that the power behind it is never down. Like, you rarely have a power outage, and you forget how like entirely reliant you are on such a thing. And when you're in a place where either you've got select hours during the day where there is only power, or it is intermittent at best, that can be super rough. And it's a whole nother layer of taking it for granted in my life. So yeah, it's good to be reminded.
Well, that is it for this show. Let us remind you that you can get all kinds of great Scott Johnson shows at frogpants.com. Anything in particular to let folks know is going on over there?
Oh, man. There's so much going on. I don't even know where to start. So I'm just going to recommend people check out the stable. You know what? This is what I'll do. I'll recommend the stable of video game related podcasts that we run over there. The Instance Core, which is a show for fans of the Heroes of the Storm video game. If you like just general video game news, twice a week I do a show called Boop, B-O-O-P, at frogpants.com/boop, where we talk about video game news of the week and kind of break it down a little bit like you do here. So if you're a gamer and you're looking for something new and interesting, maybe go check out that stuff at frogpants.com, or follow me on Twitter at Scott Johnson.
Thanks to the folks who support the show. We're trying to get up to the level where we can bring a sixth day with Peter Wells from Australia hosting, more international news, more days covered, just all kinds of things. So if you get some value out of the show and you're willing to give some value back, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. And we have a new Patreon URL too, patreon.com/DTNS. Also, if you read the blog on Saturdays, it's kind of like a sixth day. Mike Range does a funny take of the tech news of the week. It is must read for me every week. I think it's fantastic. He's hilarious, and he's put together his blog post into a book called The Internet is Like a Snowblower and 200 Other Things I Got Wrong About Tech This Year. Go search for it on Amazon. It's available as a Kindle book. We'll have the link in the show notes as well. The Internet is Like a Snowblower. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. Catch the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website at dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Nice.
Hooray! That was a good show. What should we call it?
I like the minimalism of the top vote getter.
What is that?
Just period.
I find it
Well, just
insincere.
too many people will, I think, either think it's insincere or an error.
Yeah. Most an error. You forgot your title. There's only a period there, Leslie.
There's your text doesn't sound sincere. Period. Period. Period.
How about leaking Mr. Bitcoin?
Ooh.
Leaking Mr. Bitcoin.
I like
It just
that.
sounds like a Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah, it does.
Right. There's also will the real Nakamoto please stand up? Please stand up.
Please stand up.
Just for no other reason but to insert a little Eminem song in there.
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, it's not a day without white people rapping Eminem. It's a day wasted.
I wish there were
I
some
have no argument with that.
Then there's also Yahoo is spinning off Yahoo.
Yahoo is spinning off Yahoo. That's true.
Maybe they'll just spin off the Who and leave the Yah. Ow.
It should be Yahoo minus Yahoo equals valuation.
Yahoo Baba.
Yahoo Baba. Yeah.
Yahoo Baba. Ali Yahoo.
Oh my gosh, today is a day of many titles.
I love you, period. That's subtle. W. Scottus one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Daily Tech News Show, period.
These are the coins you're looking for. I like that. Ellie, what's up? What's up, baby?
How about I know who Nakamoto is, period.
Was my gym teacher in junior high.
There was a good one about Netflix.
Netflix and not chill, but some other word that rhymes with chill, I hope.
Netflix without borders.
Oh.
Netflix, period.
Yeah.
How subtle.
I
still
like the other
leaking
one.
Mr. Bitcoin.
I love you, period.
Yeah.
I got a fan who wants me to make a frog pants and chill shirt.
Nah.
That.
I don't think I'm gonna.
Just show two people on a couch with their arms around each other.
Yeah,
It's
just
very
having a
innocent.
time.
They're just watching Netflix. They're chilling.
Fine.
Okay, Ellie. All right, what are we calling this?
Don't pull your hair. You have so little.
How about will the real Nakamoto please stand up?
Really?
No.
Really?
But
But yeah, I don't know. I'm unconvinced.
all right. Well, what are the other options? Leaking Mr. Bitcoin. I mean,
That's
I like
my
that.
favorite.
All right,
If-
let's go with that.
All right.
Not that hard.
I like it.
No period.
Actually, maybe I'll put a period in just for.
An exclamation point and 4 emojis on it.
So Yahoo's going to lose its exclamation point. We're gaining periods for which.
Okay, Ellie. That commentary is appreciated.
Sorry.
It's the same sound I make when I'm trying to fill in the ID3 tags.
I understand.
Yeah. See, a lot of people on the audio probably think that's Ellie. That's just me.
It's Tom. You've got gas again. It's fine, you guys.
I'm just like, what episode is this?
That's what I sounded like on Thursday into Friday. Oh boy.
Just burnt crispy.
Nothing like the stomach flu. Yay.
Those are the worst, along with the summer cold.
Yeah.
Ellie does have a lot to say about Bitcoin. That's true.
Right?
If
I
you
probably
say Bitcoin, she says what? See?
Bitcoin. That's so archaic.
I'll show you Bitcoin.
The future will be Pogs.
Pogs? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Hey, if you could use bottle caps in Fallout 4 as currency, why not Pogs?
I've got gastroenteritis.
Mhm.
I don't, thankfully, have that right now. I
No.
hope I don't get it.
It's all around,
It's in the air, literally.
literally.
Time of year.
The most wonderful time of the year.
The most vomitous time of the year.
You ready for your predictions, Scott?
I am. Well, not really, but I will be.
All right.
I will have at least two predictions. Well, you don't
Right.
want more than two, right?
I think we'll probably only get to 2 per person.
Yeah. I was
If
gonna
you
say.
have a third one,
I'll have a third in case someone takes one of my 2.
I have 3, and then I'm going to pick my favorite 2 out of them. And then that's a good reason if somebody picks yours. But then I do want us to all have a consensus pick, and it could be one that's already been mentioned, but one that we can all get behind.
I will come guns blazing at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Pacific.
I don't even know if that's where we're telling people when we're doing it, because it's going to show in the last week of December.
I mean, I'll be
But
there
yes, no,
when it's time. I'll be there.
it's one of those things where like I try not to publicize when we're recording them because I want people to enjoy them when they come out. But if people run across them for whatever reason, that's
Hey,
fine.
you
It's
know,
not-
you eat either all the donuts when you're supposed to eat them, like every other
Exactly.
day or so, or you eat them all at once.
You get your Christmas present early. You can open it. You really should wait.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's gonna be like not a 4-cast. It's gonna be like an 8-cast.
An 8-cast. 9-cast. All right. All right, Ellie.
See, this is the problem with Roger not having headphones.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you don't
But
know
we
how
can
loud
hear-
Ellie is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a sucker for little babies making noise, so it's not.
I am too, but once the toys get involved, then I get a little PTSD.
Oh,
about
it was
it.
the toy that pushed you
The
over the
toys
edge.
that push me over the edge.
I will mute myself.
Mute that baby, that adorable baby.
Don't mute the baby. The baby's fine.
Mute the toys. Look at us. Now we're baby haters.
No, I love Ellie. I just know that a couple people have been like, that noise is really loud on your post show, and I'm like,
It is
sorry.
really
I love
loud
baby.
because, yeah. Because
And I realize that Roger doesn't hear it back. He just hears the baby in his house, which is totally normal.
it does get a little loud. It's okay though. She's still cute without words.
I am lost. I'm left without words. Words
know.
cannot describe.
Oh no. Look at those feet. Look at that. That's cute. See? Perfect world. So all right. So we're doing our predictions show. We've got our other show. I have to write Bryce.
Dear Bryce.
What?
I have to write Bryce.
You can write Bryce.
You can write Bryce.
Since we're doing the Muppet Show.
I started getting into Hearthstone again.
Oh, did you? That
Yeah.
new expansion, people like that.
I've been playing the expansion. That's been fun. And then I finally got a little time to create some decks with TGT cards, which I really hadn't done. So I'm having fun with that too.
Someone named Matt Josephson just accepted my next door invitation.
Whoa.
Should I guess correctly that that is my husband?
Well, that's not his name.
No.
Max?
Matt, M-A-T-T.
Oh, I know
Matt
his name.
Josephson.
Oh, you're saying
Yeah.
it. Oh, I thought you said it was Max and he was fooling around. with it.
Welcome, Matt Josephson.
That
I
would've
wonder
been
if
funnier.
it named him Josephson because I.
Oh, maybe it automatically did because he said he was your husband.
She'll
Yeah,
never
kinda-
know who I am. I'll go by Max. And you
It's like
as
when we
well.
go to a hotel and they're like, Mr. Rivera? I'm like, sure. Why
Yeah.
not?
I like that. Matt Josephson. Nice Jewish boy.
Ah, a nice Irish Jewish boy from Boston.
That's right.
I can hear House of Cards firing up upstairs.
Oh,
My nephew just came home
cool.
and they've been watching House of Cards season 1, which made me realize just how good season 1 was. It was so good.
Of what?
House of Cards.
Oh, still have never seen House of Cards.
Oh my!
I
Come
know.
over.
I told you it's this deal where it's because I know it's has a permanence on Netflix and will never go off Netflix. There's something about that makes me go, I'll get to it. it's a weird new thing for me. I don't feel that
Yeah.
way about this stuff. That I do. Weird. All the original programming on most of these channels, with the exception of Man in the High Castle, which I devoured like a freak.
It's the same thing though. That's going to be on Amazon forever too.
It will be, and so I don't know why that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Why that didn't happen with that. I was so into that. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's because it's alternate history. That's why.
It just scratched every itch I have.
Ouch.
You should really,
Okay.
you should really get something for that.
Should probably get a salve. I think Caladril might be in order there.
The guy that played Shang Tsung in the terrible Mortal Kombat movies was just what I needed as trade secretary, whatever his name was.
Mm-hmm.
He was so good.
He was in.
The Asian actors win for me. They are all amazing. I love them all. They were so
That
good.
guy was in Big Trouble in Little China too, right?
Oh, was he? I don't know. Maybe. I can't remember. It's been forever.
Now it's time to watch that movie again.
Yeah, I saw it for Film Sack, and then I think that was the last time, and that was like 4 years ago. Oh, it wouldn't hurt.
Dun, dun. Do, 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 do. It's House Cards theme.
Yeah.
Scott wouldn't know that though because he's never watched it.
Yes, I watched it.
I know. I'll get
I'm
around.
just waiting for the processing of the track.
Well, now that I didn't see, because I don't have live TV, I didn't watch any of the new season of Fargo because I had just finished Fargo when the new one started. So now the whole
Oh,
thing
good.
is all on new.
I
Hulu.
don't have FX either, but well, actually I do on PlayStation View. But I just bought the season pass
Hulu got the whole thing today, so I'm gonna go watch.
of season 1.
No,
Oh
of two.
my gosh, Scott.
It had
it's
one.
nice.
It already had season 1, and then during season 2's airing, they didn't have it. I guess there's still an episode left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something.
It
But
is
they
straight up.
What
it's all up there now. 2 is up there now.
on Hulu?
Yeah, as of
Right?
today, I checked today.
Up. My favorite TV show ever.
What is?
Season 2 of Fargo.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it has just gotten better and better and better. It is magnificent.
Yeah, I'm
so excited
I
that you're
love the
gonna watch
first
it.
season. I can't wait for the second season.
What the?
Yeah, I told you, man.
Oh, they don't have this week's episode.
No,
Episode
they're behind
9.
a couple episodes, but for me, it's going to take me a while to catch up.
Yeah, right. No, exactly.
But for most of the season, like up until literally yesterday, they had none of season 2, so they must be putting them up.
Well, I've been enjoying watching it from week to week anyway.
That's a very Midwestern thing to say about it because I, from the New York City, say it's the very best thing I've ever seen on TV in a long, 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 long time.
Well, that's because you're
I'm
going for a
effusive.
dramatic effect, not an
Yeah.
accuracy meter.
I think they could be both dramatic and accurate statements.
Is it literally the best thing you've ever seen ever?
I mean, yeah, pretty close.
See, you just back that.
I'm just thinking about, The Sopranos. And
I'm not
it's up
arguing
there. It's up
that
there.
what you're saying isn't poetically true.
Yes.
All right. Finally got an MP3. You folks want me to publish this podcast?
3. Yes.
Can we make a jingle like that to play? MP3. Proud as a peacock.
Your show may be long talkity. They stand out a mile, but
Now you're
brother,
Broadway.
I don't know.
That's pretty good. Here's that real one. Hold on, here you go.
Yeah.
Don't usually play.
MP3.
Here's the one I know.
In color.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
That's the one you know.
Oh, I was doing the one from Annie. Your clothes may be Beau Brummely. Actually, for a podcaster, it would be quite wrinkly. Stand up alone.
All right, this might be a little buzzy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it is. It is, but it might be worth it, I think.
CBS presents this program in color.
I wish it wasn't so I wish the grounding wasn't so bad.
That's a good one.
What's the grounding? What's giving you ground problem?
When I plug a mini jack into this laptop, it just gives me that hub.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Is your MacBook?
Yeah, just on the MacBook.
Hmm.
So it's not anything else.
I wonder if the cable needs just one of those ferrite things, ferrite core things.
Yeah, maybe.
That might help. That
Maybe
fixed the
get
problem I
your
was having.
MacBook. Whoa.
Oh, my eye was in it.
It's probably your eyeball.
Vitreous fluid and
Yes, exactly.
a fake lamp.
All right. That is it for Leaking Mr. Bitcoin. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Yay.
We'll see you in
Ahoy,
color.
Expedition!